Hey y'all, and welcome back to the Ingrain Workshop. I'm Rick, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a tour of our chicken coop, aka the Cadillac Coop da Chicken. So let's get started. So this is where our chicken area starts. It's a area that's on the side of our tennis courts, and this is what I would consider their free range area. Our chickens come out at around 10 o'clock in the morning, and then they can free range all day up until about 8 o'clock at night. And as you can see, this is a desolate, desert land here. There's not a blade of grass growing. They've picked it clean. And then there's the coop, and as you can see, it's a pretty nice coop. It's 8 feet wide, and then you've got a run that consists of 18 feet by 8 feet. The run is constructed of 6 foot wide by 6 foot high wall panels, and then the roof, I believe, has a 4-on-12 pitch. So the ceiling height inside the chicken run is approximately 8 feet. And then the mesh is, I believe, 1/2-inch hardware mesh. So there's really no chance of any predators able to get inside. This is the coop area, which is where they nest and sleep and roost. And that area is 8 feet by 8 feet. It's basically just two pieces of plywood, and then the roof is made of corrugated metal, and everything here can be picked up at a big box store. You also see I have a hose bib on the very end of the coop area there, so when I do clean out the bedding material from the coop, I can wash it out. I also have an automatic door that lets the chickens out, like I said, at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then it shuts at 8 o'clock at night. So generally, when I come out in the mornings, I'll actually go into the run. Now the way this is constructed and the way that it functions, you really don't even have to enter the coop to do any feeding, watering, collecting the eggs. Everything can be done from outside the coop. I just like to go inside the coop. And you'll see here, I keep a D-ring, and then it's just a standard gate latch. And like I said, this latch can be found at any big box store. But you do have to put the D-ring back in the gate latch. Trust me, I found that out the hard way because I went in one day, the wind blew the door shut, and it literally locked me inside the coop. And that's not a good feeling. You'll see a piece of wire there that's on the inside of the coop. That's just an emergency wire that I use just in case I do get locked in. I can use that coat hanger or that wire to open the lock from the inside of the run. And this is basically what the run looks like. It does have an automatic waterer, and you can see, I believe it's got approximately 6 nipples, and these are just very low maintenance. You don't have to really do anything to the nipples. The rain barrel is on the outside of the coop, so you fill up the barrel from outside. Again, you don't have to come inside the coop to do anything. Now I do have both water and electric here at the coop, and it does really make it very convenient to have both electric and water at your coop. I chose to have the water hard piped into the rain barrel. That way every morning while I'm feeding the chickens, I'll go ahead and just crack the water open a little bit, and it will be filling up the rain barrel while I'm feeding and collecting the eggs every morning. And there's the stairs that go up to the actual coop area, and then there's a area below the coop which has a feeder in it, and that feeder is accessed, believe it or not, from the outside of the coop. So I can open up the door on the back side there and fill up the feeder without ever having to step foot inside the coop. Again, this is a very functional coop. Everything can be accessed from the outside. You don't have to come inside to do anything. I just like to come in every day just to check on the chickens, to give a visual, physical inspection of the coop and the chickens, just to make sure, everything is fine. And like I said, this is the stairs that lead into the coop area, which is where the chickens roost. You have 3 roosting bars up there, and then you have 2 nesting boxes, one on each side of the coop. And then this is the automatic door, and there's a timer on the left hand side there which controls the door. And I've basically just got it set up on a clock, so it just opens up at 10 o'clock in the morning and then automatically shuts at I believe 8 o'clock at night. And there's a lot of different programming features you can have on this. You can have it set up to come up at sunrise and to close at sunset. You can have it different schedules for different days of the week. You can do something different on the weekends. It's a pretty versatile door opener, and I did get this on Amazon, and I'll drop a link in the video description below. But this is the only item out of the entire coop that had to be purchased online. Everything else was bought at the big box store. And as you can see here, this is the 1/2 inch hardware cloth. Now you could go with your standard chicken wire. I just think the hardware cloth is a little bit more sturdier, more stable, and is going to keep predators totally out. And you don't have to worry. And that's the whole thing, is to have peace of mind that the chickens are protected. You can see here in the open ceiling, the trusses were done just like the walls. They were all built, fabricated in the workshop. I forget how many trusses it took. And then I just came out and installed them once I got them all constructed. And as you can see, it gives you a height of about 8 feet. You don't have to worry about ducking your head or anything like that. And then also all the areas above the walls are sealed up between the walls and the actual roof. So there's no way any predators can come in. And then I also have a ridge vent at the top. So whatever heat gets inside the coop, it has a way to escape and get outside of the coop. And here at the bottom of the coop, all the wood used at the very bottom is pressure treated. And then I also have a 2x4 welded wired fence installed as an apron all the way around the perimeter of the coop. So there's virtually no way any predators can dig and try to get underneath the coop. Again, this is a very protected coop, and it's just all about peace of mind. This is the valve, the water valve, that I usually crack open and just get the water flowing, and it just slowly fills the rain barrel. That gives me enough time to feed the chickens and then collect all the eggs in the morning. And usually by the time I'm done with that, the barrel is full. It does have an overflow on the barrel, so I can visually see that the barrel's full. I could have run a gutter up here on the roof, along the roof edge, and then fed it down into the rain barrel. And if I lived in a desert or dry environment, I probably would have done that. But because we're here in Florida, I wanted this installed under oak trees to give it as much shade as possible. This is one of the nesting boxes, and you can see that it's constructed very similar to the coop. It has the corrugated roof on it. Next to the nesting box, I have a metal trash can, which I keep all the food in. And I highly recommend using a metal trash can. You will need to put some silicone around the handle on the lid. That will seal it up and keep water from getting your food wet. But I highly recommend a metal can. If not, you're going to have rodents, squirrels, rats, other rodents trying to chew into the trash can. I used to have a plastic trash can out here, and they literally chewed a hole in it to get to the food. So as you can see here on the nesting box, I have a what I call a tailgate type door on it. And again, all the hinges and the gate hardware, D-rings, everything was purchased at a big box store. Again, you don't have to use a D-ring here, but just to keep raccoons out, I prefer to just keep a D-ring in the gate lock. And you can see here I have 4 separate nesting boxes inside this nest, which gives my chickens plenty of room to lay their eggs. And then I've got an identical nesting box on the other side of the coop. So I have a total of 8 nesting boxes, and I believe I have currently around 20 chickens that are utilizing the coop. So they have plenty of space and plenty of room to lay their eggs. Now this is the door that accesses the feeder, the automatic feeder. So every morning I'll come in here and fill up the feeder again from the outside of the coop. But I also do go inside the run and throw them some food on the floor in the run. And next to the automatic feeder, again, this is the area under the coop. This is just a storage area. This has a plywood bottom, and I can store heat lamps. And mainly I store stuff that we use when we have chicks. It's not that often that we have chicks, but when we do, I've got a little chick feeder, a little chick water, pine shavings I'll store down here, stuff like that. And then on this side of the coop, again, this is under the coop itself. This is our, I think they call it the broider. It's our chick area. So when we do have chicks, this is the area where we'll put down pine chips. And then I do have a heat lamp. So I do have electric here, and there's a switch, and the switch turns on the heat lamp. So again, you don't have to go inside to do anything. They have the heat lamp, and I'll just open up the door, fill up the chick feeder and the chick water, and that's pretty much all I have to do to maintain the chicks. But as you can see, they still can interact with the chickens on the other side of the hardware screen. So it's not like they're just there by themselves. They can still have some interaction with the actual chickens. And again, this is the nesting box on the other side of the coop, and they're identical. Both nesting boxes have, I think, 4 individual nests within those boxes. And I like this design because it opens up the nesting boxes from behind the chickens, so it doesn't stress them out or scare them at all. When you have a nesting box that has a lid on the top, chickens are afraid of predators coming from the top, and so when you open the top, they will stress them out because they think a predator's coming from above. So it's always nice to have your nesting boxes open from the back. This is the hose bib and the hose for cleaning out the chicken coop area when I go to change the bedding, which I normally change about every 3 to 6 months. This is the automatic door from the outside. Like I had mentioned before, it just opens and shuts automatically. Something I would highly recommend getting, because when I first built the coop, this was an afterthought. I was coming out every morning and every night to close and shut the coop door, and that just became a pain. So I got the automatic door. So this is the back view of the coop, and as you can see, there are a lot of doors here. You've got 2 at the bottom that access the storage and the feeder, and then the 2 at the top access the actual coop area. And then I also have a tailgate door below that, which opens up so you can actually clean out the bedding. And it makes it very easy, because then you can just roll a wheelbarrow right up next to it, take a metal rake, and just rake out all your old bedding material into your wheelbarrow. And then I usually use that as fertilizer and plant that around the fruit trees in our property. So you can see the latches here that open up these 2 swing doors, and the entire roosting area here is surrounded by open screen, so they get plenty of cross ventilation. Now, if I lived up north, I'd probably have windows that opened and closed. That way in the wintertime, I could close them to keep heat inside the coop. But down here in Florida, we don't have that problem, so there are no windows. It's just wide open, so they get plenty of ventilation. And then the coop does sit underneath some oak trees, so they get plenty of shade. And you can see the hemp bedding here in the bottom of the coop. And the bottom of the coop is made up of 2 4x8 sheets of plywood. And then I've got a thin layer of 1/16 inch plastic on top of the plywood. That way any moisture due to the chicken droppings or when I clean out the coop doesn't absorb into the plywood. The plywood's 100% protected with this plastic sheeting that's underneath it. And then I do have a couple of drain holes. So when I do clean out the bedding, I can just take the hose down all the plastic, the water drains out. There's a shot of the plastic there. I did put some of it on the actual tailgate door itself, but you can see it's on the bottom as well, and that really helps protect the plywood, and will just your coop will last so much longer if you have that. And again, this is all stuff that can be picked up at the big box store. A lot of people use pine shavings. I opted to use hemp. It's a little bit more money, but I think it's more absorbent. It lasts longer, and like I said, I come out here monthly and replace the hemp, or I'll rake the hemp just to bring the fresh hemp up to the top, and then I do replace the hemp completely every 3 to 6 months, because you will get a lot of droppings here, because this is the roosting area. This is where they're going to be sleeping at night, and you'll see all the droppings which are directly below the roost. And then those are the nesting boxes from the inside. You can see the girls there doing their business, laying the eggs, and it's a very functional coop. I think the chickens are happy. I know that I'm happy. This is something that if you love chickens and you want to build a nice coop, this is a very nice coop. And I'm thinking about doing a future build video and building something very similar to this, but not nearly as large. Again, that's the great thing about using pocket hole construction for this coop, is it's done modular, so you can pretty much make it any size you want. Like I said, this coop is 8 feet wide by 24 feet long. The coop itself is 8 by 8, and then the run is 8 by 16. But you can see inside here, the chickens have plenty of room, plenty of space. They get plenty of ventilation, and I think for the most part they're very happy. Again, like I said, I'm very happy. Everything here, like I said, other than the door, can be purchased at the big box stores. And then you can paint it whatever color you want, but I highly recommend painting it because that's going to preserve the wood. But other than just 2x4s, plywood, the corrugated metal roofing, again, everything was bought at the big box stores. The 2x4 along the bottom perimeter is pressure treated, and I did use the blue pressure treated rated Craig screws for the pocket screws along the bottom, and then I just used your standard Craig pocket screws for the framing part. But again, as you can see, it's a nice sized coop. You've got plenty of area to move around, and like I said, you don't even have to get in the coop to do anything. You can see the Craig pocket holes and how everything was fastened together. So these are 2 walls here that I joined together. Like I said, the walls were made out of 6x6 panels. I just built the panels in the workshop. I attached the hardware cloth to them. So everything was pretty much done in my workshop. And then when I came out here to where I was going to install it, then I just pocket holed all the wall panels together, and that made up the run. And then same thing with the coop. I built the coop all the individual 4 walls of the coop area were built in the workshop, and then I just brought them out here and fastened everything together and built it almost like an erector set. So again, the type of construction that was used is fairly simple. I don't consider myself a master carpenter by no means, but it's something that I think anyone with a skill saw and some basic woodworking tools can put together. And like I said, it's very versatile, and it can be downsized or upsized if you wanted to make it wider or longer. You can definitely do that. Like I said, the type of modular construction used here makes it versatile that way that you can do that. And again, the roof also has purlins that run perpendicular to the run, and that's what the corrugated metal roof is fastened to. And you can see they run all the way to the end. So the roof itself is very sturdy. When I installed the corrugated metal, I was actually standing on the roof just like you would for a typical house. And it does have a ridge vent running down the middle. And it's very, very versatile. So that's gonna pretty much wind up the tour of the Cadillac Coop da Chicken. I did buy some solar lights online. You could probably pick them up at the big box store too. You can see them there. I put solar lights on each wall. So the Coop has 4 solar lights around the perimeter, and they come on at dusk and then go off at dawn. So at least at night, if there happens to be any predators around, the lights will hopefully keep them away. And then here on the side of the free range area, we do have some viburnum shrubs, and you can see during the day the chickens just kind of dig out a hole and just lay there just to keep cool during the hottest part of the day. So that kind of gets them out of the elements as well. So I hope you enjoyed the tour, and that's probably going to wrap it up. Well, I hope you enjoyed the tour. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this video helps you out in your chicken coop project. If it does, please leave it a thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Your support is greatly appreciated. Most of the material used in the chicken coop was purchased at a local big box store. The only thing that did not come from the big box store was the automatic door. That was something that I ordered off of Amazon, and I'll leave a link in the video description below to where you can get that, and also to where you can get the hemp that I use, and also the nesting box material that I use for the nest inside the nesting box. All that is purchased off of Amazon, but everything else with regards to the materials of the chicken coop were purchased at your big box store. As always, this is Rick with the Ingrain Workshop. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day, and please share. Thank you.